Yo, what up, though? Skol family. Ho, ho, ho to all. And I hope all is well. But I've been thinking about this. Maybe my expectation for the Minnesota Vikings shoes are too big for them to field. I done came to that damn conclusion, man. Like, let's be for real. The Minnesota Vikings, man, are okay with being mediocre, man. I done seen the Eagles lose their head coach, get rid of both quarterbacks after they won Super Bowl, after losing their franchise quarterback, get a new head coach, get another quarterback, and get back to the Super Bowl. Now, ain't that about a bitch? But the Minnesota Vikings is okay with being mediocre, man. And maybe KOC was a good hire for the Minnesota Vikings, man. He is a coach who not going to bench nobody if they playing bad. We done witnessed that firsthand this year. He not gonna fire nobody. We seen that last year with the last defensive coordinator. He should have got fired in mid-season, but he ain't do that. KOC is not gonna rap. He not gonna he not gonna cause no confusion or no commotion, none of that. He's just gonna do what he gotta do to be a head coach, man. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all you getting from KOC. Let's be for real. That's all we getting from KOC. But this is not about KOC, man. This is not about KOC. This is about the Minnesota Vikings, man. I done seen the 49ers go to the Super Bowl with Harbaugh, lose Harbaugh, hire another head coach, and then they had 3, 4 quarterbacks, and still is a good football team. And we are still playing with the same shit in Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is an okay quarterback. I give him his flowers, but he is not going to win you a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins is not going to do that, man. And this ain't no Kirk Cousins slander or no Kirk Cousins this video, man. I'm just keeping it real, man. And with KOC, I just feel like people want to move on from him. People want to keep him, but I just feel like people are making excuses up for KOC, man. And my football coach told me this when I was young. Excuses leads to failure, man. And that's what people are doing. I done seen coaches win Super Bowl and win a lot of football games with backup quarterbacks, man. So I'm not trying to hear none of that time. We ain't got Kirk Cousins. It don't matter. When we had Kirk Cousins, we were losing. So let's be for real at Vikings fan. Like, take your heart out of it. Take your heart out of it and look at it as a football person, stand base. Like, the Vikings right now is not in a good spot, man. I'm gonna be real with y'all. They are not in a good spot with KOC, with Quasey, with whoever. It don't matter. I don't know what's going on with the Vikings right now, man, and I don't like it though. Because when I fell in love with the Minnesota Vikings, it was in 1998. We had Randy Moss, Warren Moon, and before Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter. We had Jack. We had some animals. Dennis Green. We had some animals on the Minnesota Vikings offense, man. Tony Dungy was even a DC left here and went to Indy and won a damn Super Bowl. Everybody leave Minnesota and win a damn Super Bowl, man. Percy Harvin, he was nice. He left Minnesota and won a damn Super Bowl. I just don't want JJ to feel like the rest of the Vikings players before him that telling him like at the end of the day, man, you're gonna have to lead the Vikings if you want to win a Super Bowl. I want to change that, but I feel like the Minnesota Vikings is okay with being mediocre, man. I just feel like my expectation for the Minnesota Vikings might be too high, man. So I'm gonna dumb them down a little bit. KOC, if we make the playoff, cool. If we don't, I know Kirk Cousins got hurt. JJ missed a few games. The water boy got hurt. The kicker got hurt. I know all the excuses in the world. I know why we ain't make the playoffs, man. It's not your fault. You are a good head coach, and you are probably the right head coach for the Minnesota Vikings because the Minnesota Vikings is okay with being mediocre. And you, my friend, look like borderline a mediocre coach. Because shit I seen last Saturday night, man, he did a tush push with a fucking wide receiver that weigh 100 pounds, that 5'10 with one player. Most people do a tush push with two players back there and big people. But that ain't KOC far. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, I just want my Minnesota Vikings to win a Super Bowl, man. I want us to compete for Super Bowls. And the rate we going right now, we ain't gonna compete for Super Bowl probably about 5 years from now. If you really want to be real, it depends on how the management feel. But I feel like KLC ass will be fired after next year. And I got KLC video coming next week after this Lions game, depending on what happened. But if for sure coming this year, you could believe that. Y'all let me know in the comment section below though. How do y'all feel about the Minnesota Vikings? And do you feel like we as Vikings fans set the expectations too high for the Minnesota Vikings? I don't feel like that. I don't.